Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey.
I'm Holly.
And we are in beautiful Savannah, Georgia with this, the 2023 Hyundai IONIQ 6. Fully electric. This is the limited all-wheel drive, and in this video we will both give you our driving impressions of what this new electric vehicle is like from Hyundai. Stay tuned. All right, Gearhead, so Hyundai did fly us out to Savannah to check out this vehicle right here, to get to drive it. We've been to Hilton Head and back, really getting to learn more about this vehicle, but I'm gonna pull in close here and actually open up, if I can find it, the hood, because this being a fully electric vehicle, no need for an engine under here. Interesting point of difference between this and the IONIQ 5, where in the IONIQ 5 you actually got an actual plastic cover for this very small, cute little storage area that really would be best for maybe some charging cables or stuff like that.
First aid kits.
Yeah, you get no such auxiliary lid with this one. You can see the seal here actually does seal around the hood.
The hood. It acts as a lid.
Yeah, so no need for extra plastic in this. And that is kind of the theme with this vehicle when comparing it to the IONIQ 5. They really did a lot to make this a more efficient vehicle than that IONIQ 5. And as we get in behind the wheel and talk about driving impressions and things like that, we'll really talk about the big differences between the two. But closing the hood, look at the style of this thing. It is very clearly a Hyundai electric product, and a lot of that is thanks to these pixelated lights up front. They say there's what, over 600 of these lights all the way around the vehicle. They challenged us to count them all, but it is a very pervasive design theme that you will see through all of Hyundai's electrified products, starting first with that IONIQ 5 that we tested that we really liked, and translating here into these amber running lights on our limited model right here on this IONIQ 6. Otherwise, you do get full LED headlights. They are very bright, and you can see they light up the road very well. And those pixels are LEDs as well. And then down here, the vehicle's actually running right now. You can't really tell too much because it is fully electric. It's just the air conditioner that is really making noise right now. But right here, these two flaps actually close for better efficiency and open when the battery needs a little bit of extra cooling. So those flaps can be open or closed. If we had the vehicle off right now, it would be more or less a sheet of white across the front there. And then you can see we've got some more pixels right here, and there's our front-facing camera. So a lot of interesting details hidden on this vehicle. Another interesting point is this. This is an air curtain that allows air to get around the front of this vehicle. Pulling back, you can see the slippery shape of this vehicle. It's got a coefficient drag of 0.22, which makes it the most aerodynamic Hyundai product ever produced, and one of the most aerodynamic vehicles on the road today. So again, talking to those points of difference between this and IONIQ 5, they reduced weight where they could, they saved weight where they could, they've made efficiencies to the battery chemistry and the power density, things like that, to get the most out of every bit of that 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. And I guess now that I've closed the hood, we can talk about power numbers. So this being the long range all-wheel drive does come equipped with a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, making 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque. Estimated 0 to 60 of 5.1 seconds, and it can get up to 316 miles of range, which comes in to these wheels and tires right here. Being that this is the limited, we get these Pirelli P0 tires wrapped around these very interesting aerodynamic wheels. These are 20-inch wheels, and the other option on the SE long range are 18-inch wheels. And the wheels are the biggest determining factor in range. So anytime you opt for the 20-inch wheels, you are decreasing your range somewhat significantly. The longest range version of this vehicle is the rear wheel drive, long range with 18-inch wheels, and that gets right around 360 miles of range. So very impressive there. But I did want to mention these are 245/40 R20 Pirelli P0 tires, and I had Pirelli P0s on my Camaro, if that tells you anything about the tires. The IONIQ 5 that we tested, I do believe had Michelin Primacy Tours. So another interesting point of difference between this and the IONIQ 5. And I would say this is the most dramatic difference between this and the IONIQ 5. While it rides on the same eGMP platform as IONIQ 5, has roughly the same dimensions when it comes to wheelbase and all that, very different profile on this vehicle. So they talk about this one bow style design. You would see it in some other products, most notably Mercedes-Benz EQE and EQS sedans, and they are very proud of that one bow design. This has a very similar look, but I think it's probably executed a little bit better around back, and we'll talk about that when we get back there. But you can see here the door handles are flush mounted door handles. They do pop out when the vehicle is unlocked, and we'll talk more about that when we get inside. But very interesting, very unique look here. They call it a Streamliner profile or a Streamliner silhouette. Very interesting look to the vehicle. And then coming around to the back, I'm gonna have to ask Holly to hop in and show you the third brake light on this by pressing on the brake pedal, because the brakes on this are so cool. And there are multiple levels to them. So you can see she's on the brake now. We get more of those pixelated lights, but this right here, this rear spoiler has the high mounted stop lamp integrated into it. And you can see even more pixels. So tons of pixels built into this. And you kind of have to be down at this angle to actually see them on the tail of the vehicle. All right, thank you, babe. And very interesting taillights. Will you put the flashers on while you're up there though, please?
Okay.
I just want to show what the flashers look like on this. Very interesting look. This is what the flashers look like back here. So you can see while the brakes lit up everything back here, the blinkers are truly just on the sides there. Very interesting look to the vehicle. Even more pixels, and then even coming down here to your reverse lights, those are pixelated as well. So pixels on pixels on pixels on this car. Very interesting look, keeps it very tied into the rest of the IONIQ family. But coming over here, we'll look on this passenger side, just at this line on the body side of the vehicle that just follows the window lines and just drops off dramatically, coming back to the tail here. And then these dual level spoilers on the back really give it an old school Porsche vibe to me. So really kind of giving you a cool vehicle look and something that is futuristic, but retro all at the same time. Do get a standard power trunk. So while the IONIQ 5 was a hatchback, they do classify that a small SUV. This really is more like a sedan, so it gives you a proper trunk like you would expect in a sedan. Very large, very spacious. You can see it is 60/40. You do get releases here. You can pull on them, but you have to push the seat while this is pulled. So I'm gonna actually climb way back in here and push that forward. So you can see mostly flat load floor transition in between the trunk and the back seat there. And then peeking under the floor storage here, that's where you will find the charger, the window sticker on this one. So if you're curious, $57,875 on this one. So we'll get more into that here in just a little bit with Holly, but just a little bit of extra storage here under the bottom, and you do get a tire mobility kit. So again, going to the weight savings, they cut weight wherever they could, and that includes a spare tire. But let's close this up, and why don't we move inside and see what it's like on the inside of the IONIQ 6. Okay, when talking about the key on this one, I do want to show it to you because it is very interesting and unique. It itself is the Hyundai logo. So here's the key, there's the Hyundai logo. Key, Hyundai logo. Yeah, but very interesting when you're looking at it like this. It has lock, unlock, remote start, and a panic button on it, but it is a proximity key. You can just keep it in your pocket, but push on this little pixel logo right there with it on your person, and the door handles pop out, and Oh, look, Holly's inside. We can talk about the interior styling together on this one. So I'm gonna go ahead, get in, push the engine or vehicle start button, and get us cooled off in here. But Holly, would you like to talk our favorite themes in here in the interior of this? And we talked a lot on the outside about differences with the IONIQ 5. There are some notable absences from the IONIQ 5 right over here.
Yeah, they made, in my decision, a terrible design choice.
Terrible design choice.
And got rid of the succulents.
But they are very proud of these very slim doors. So they removed most of, I say most because there are still 2 buttons here on the driver's door, but most of the buttons to make this a very slim door. Very little electronics needed to be run into this door. You do have this very large Bose speaker right here, and lighting, ambient lighting right here, which you can kind of see reflecting up the ripples here on the side. But yeah, they're very proud of these slim design doors with a little bit of storage down there, because they moved everything right here a la Jeep Wrangler, Ford Bronco. Don't know that it's my favorite in a vehicle that the doors don't come off of. It definitely is a retraining of your brain. I don't know how many times I've looked on the door itself to try and roll the window down or try and unlock it.
Well, and another design choice that we haven't talked about is the storage.
Yes.
So you do kind of have a little pocket here, although you wouldn't want to keep something there long term.
Right.
But you have a nice long storage pocket right here.
Yes.
And one of my favorite features underneath the console bridge is a little storage area right there. I think it's a perfect use of space. And of course, as you can see, we are utilizing it.
Yes. So they're very proud of this bridge design. Again, very different from IONIQ 5, which had the movable center console that had a little bit of storage in it that went with its forward and back, but this actually connects to the dash and is a little bit different. It is all recycled materials. Very interesting material choice here. Forward and aft cup holders, USB-A port to interface with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. No wireless on this yet, but they say that is coming very soon. A Qi wireless charger pad right up here with an NFC, so I'm sure that's a quick way for non-Apple users to pair their phone with their vehicle. But very nice bridge setup here once you get used to the buttons right there. Additional storage, we've got a center console right here that's rather good size, 2 USB-C ports in here, and then a little bit of storage right here. We've got change, but you can tell it's going to rattle. It's going to make a lot of noise here. Nothing rubber in there, which, again, very interesting for a storage space on this. But looking across the dash, these little winglet designs, if we were in foreign markets, these would actually be displays for a rear view camera mirror. Again, going to the aerodynamic efficiency of this vehicle. Foreign markets don't actually have these big, bulky mirrors. They have cameras, and they display right in here what is on that camera. So both sides, very symmetrical look here. Have that little wing tip design. Down here, you get your electronic parking brake, your brightness control, your button to open your charge port door and traction control, as well as your mirror controls. Again, not here on the door, trying to keep everything off the door. Down there, you have your hood release, even though really not much need to get underneath there. Very similar steering wheel from IONIQ 5. You get this Morse code for H here in the center, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. It changes color based on your drive mode. So here we are in normal and in sport, and it lights up red. So very interesting little tidbit right there, the Morse code for H. If you've seen our IONIQ 5 video, we went into a lot of detail because we lived with that for a week with the IP and everything. Steering, gauge cluster related, all of that is very similar to the IONIQ 5, but I do want to call out the 360 cameras on this. So this has very clear, very crisp imagery on the cameras. We got a bird's eye, top-down 360 with our trajectory lines right here. And then we can actually pan around the entire vehicle. And so Ours is white. I don't know if you can change this like you could on the Genesis GV60. Like I said, we are on a speed date with this one, but very interesting that even the wheels match up. So very cool there, but I like how you can pivot around and see exactly what you want to see in any sort of driving situation there. But I'm going to go ahead and put it back in park, which I can do from this steering column mounted gear selector. Not my favorite. What say you? What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, it's another like retraining of your brain. Yep, I don't hate it.
You almost instinctively, you know it's somewhere here, and you can see this one. You really can't see this one.
Yeah, it would be nice if they were different shapes, but they're kind of the same shape.
Yeah,
also.
And they just kind of stick out right there. But one last thing I want to talk about up here is there is a dedicated button for it. It takes you to this screen here, and we get heated and ventilated front seats. These are H-Tex, or they're fancy synthetic leather. They are very comfortable. We'll talk more about how they ride while we're driving. You can see that's also where the heated steering wheel button is right there. But that's enough of the front seats. Let's see how the back seat of this one differs from that IONIQ 5. Okay, so moving to the back seat of the IONIQ 6, you can see we do have this tapering roof line. What's it like for my 510 frame when we move inside? Oh, what do we have here? Holly's working on her laptop. Are you using the built-in 4G Wi-Fi?
I am using the built-in 4G Wi-Fi. Is what I'd say if I was...
Actually working?
Actually had this car.
Yes. So, moving into the back seat, sitting behind myself at 5'10". Oh my goodness, the room. Like, I couldn't... I am slouching pretty good right now to get in this position. I have a lot of room back here. Now, that changes a little bit with the sloping roof line. My hair is brushing the top ever so slightly. So we were told by someone who is 6'3" that he can ride back here, work back here, no problem. But there's definitely finding your right groove back here for sure.
The seats are comfortable though.
Yes.
So that's good.
Very comfortable here. We have seating across for 3. There is a seat belt here in the middle. We do have fold down center armrest with 2 cup holders. And I showed you when we were in the trunk, this is a 60/40 fairly flat folding rear seat. So you do want to check and make sure that there's nothing back here before folding those seats down. But back here on the back doors, we actually do have some window controls. So hallelujah for that.
Oh my gosh, we could go faster if those window controls weren't there.
But here you can see more of the ambient lighting coming up with this ripple effect of the side. But very interesting design and comfort back here.
And some more clever storage spaces back here as well. You have this little pocket in front of your speaker. I like that. Another one down here that is also a cup holder. Yes. And you have some on the back of your seats. And
so mesh
a little bit right here too behind your console. On
the back of both plastic covered seats.
Yes.
So for Tucker, this definitely is a win for us because he likes to kick the backs of the seats. And then we've got 2 air vents on the back of the center console. If you remember on the IONIQ, they were located in the B pillar. Again, a lot of attention was paid to keeping the side profile of these doors, of the sides, very slim to give a more airy presence, especially here in this back seat. And I would say it works. This really does feel cavernous back here, don't you think?
It feels really big back here. I'm surprised.
And then coming down here, we do have household style power outlets on the bulkhead back here. So she could, if we had brought the charger, plug her computer in. We also have 2 USB-C ports on the back of the center console. So lots of power, lots of things back here. Now, I'm gonna pull a fast one on you. We normally do this while driving. Being that we're in a new car, in a new environment, and we're having to follow directions, I want us to be very safe. I did find the window sticker. They made it a little easy for you. They gave you price ranges.
Yes.
But how would you say this one
falls in that?
I will say this is a 2013 long range, all-wheel drive limited. So this is tippy-top trim.
Top.
This is as good as it gets right here.
55.
$57,875
Okay.
for this one.
Yeah.
So definitely reasonable. They come in less. There's
They start
SE
at 41.
and SEL, and yes, the SE comes in at 41. So you can really work your way up the ladder. Currently, these are imported from South Korea, so they do not qualify for the new EV tax credits, but we drove by the new plant just outside of Savannah.
Yes.
There's talk that they could bring production of the EV6 or the IONIQ 6 to that plant. So we will see, but we do know the EV9 will be built in Georgia. So it'll be very interesting to see how these foreign manufacturers adjust to that new tax credit. But overall, fuel economy in this one, the 103 mpge, if that means anything to you, 111 city, 94 highway. Estimated range on this model based on the window sticker, 270 miles. So like I said, outside with those 20-inch wheels, that is one of the biggest determining factors on the range of this thing, because there are 2 battery options. But that's enough talking about it.
All right.
Let's get you behind the wheel.
Let's do it.
Now would be a good time to talk about our sponsor for this video, and that is Electron EV Chargers. They did supply us with this 110-240 convertible unit here that comes with a NEMA 1450 plug that you can see plugs in to the adapter base right here. It also comes with a 110 household style plug, so you can charge it at home or wherever you are on the go, and you don't have to worry about what kind of plug situation you're moving into. They also supplied us with this vehicle to load adapter. So if you're in a Hyundai Kia Genesis product that supports charging other things from your charge port, you simply plug this adapter into your charge port in the vehicle, and then you can charge anything up to a completely separate electric vehicle with this 110 plug and your adapter plug right there. So a whole lot of very useful options here from Electron. You can learn more about them and all the different products they have supplied us with for testing and that they offer for your electric vehicle by visiting the link down in the description below. Any purchase helps our channel. We thank you a whole lot. All right, gearheads, so here we are. Holly is behind the wheel right now. We will swap out later. We've got a good 80 miles on this vehicle so far, but this is your first chance getting behind the wheel. I know we'll get into more of it while I'm driving, but this feels very familiar to the IONIQ 5 we had on our home turf.
Yes.
I mean, same bones, same structure, but we've already talked exterior and interior styling. What are your thoughts, both as a passenger for those 80 miles and now behind the wheel?
Well, it's definitely comfortable.
Yes.
The rideability is good. The seats are comfortable.
I've got lumbar, you've got lumbar.
Yeah, it's heated and ventilated seats. So that's good. Not that, I mean, I didn't need them. You did need
I've got
them.
ventilated on right now. Getting a nice chill. But,
oh, I forgot. I haven't tried it. I do want ventilated.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I'm just not used to it.
My dedicated button here, and we'll just turn it on full blast. And there you go.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to help. They flew us out to Savannah. We are currently driving back from Hilton Head, South Carolina. We're scratching 2 states off our family bucket list. But very beautiful scenery, like you said, very comfortable. Rides well.
Very comfortable
Not
ride.
a lot of fatigue on these seats. I was very pleased. They are H-Tex covered seats, and like you said, heated and ventilated. Very comfortable, multi-position. You've got 2-person driver memory over there, so be sure and push that 2 before we get done driving with you, just in case you kick me out again.
Oh, I'll kick you out again.
But now would be a good time. You just put on the blinker. We've got the blind spot cameras in this thing, full 360 cameras in this thing. So a lot of good.
The screens are one continuous screen, which is...
Well, that's where they've got you fooled. It's actually 2 12.3-inch screens, something like that. 2 12-inch screens.
It appears to be.
Yes, and you can actually change. They could either be a white mode or black mode. I went ahead and switched it over to black to kind of give you that more continuous look there. But you can see we've got this massive CarPlay screen, and the whole thing is CarPlay, so that's very nice as well.
Let's talk about the lighting, my favorite.
Knew you would want to. So I'll go ahead and assist as we go through this.
Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
When do I ever get into the passenger side of a vehicle or the driver's side
and just start
poking around in the infotainment center?
It did take me a little bit to figure out exactly what you're doing, and you weren't telling me, and then it clicked that you wanted to get into the ambient lighting because there are 2 levels and you can adjust them in infinite many ways.
Many ways.
Yes. So
they have dual light mode,
yes,
ambient lighting.
6 presets for concentration, healing forest, wonderful day, you know, some fun stuff like that where the upper and lower are different. But then you can do whatever you want.
But what I think is really cool is they have like a mind care, a focus one, and these are like proven colors that help you relax or focus or, and so I think that's a fun little feature there. We're not driving at night.
Right.
So you can't see all of the ambient lighting,
but
it is
really
on
good.
The front.
And we've got this rippled effect on the doors that it cascades up from. So really, it's done very well. Rivaling some Mercedes-Benz products that we've tested for ambient lighting and the like there. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Getting to learn about that and play around with that, which brings us to before we get into your driving impressions, because you're still getting acclimated over there, but again, very similar to the IONIQ 5 that we had for a week. Very different design theme in here than that IONIQ 5. We touched on it a little bit earlier when we were doing the walkthrough, but these little wings here, if we weren't in America, that would be a monitor for side view cameras. So that's interesting. But sadly, you have to say goodbye to your beloved succulents, from the IONIQ 5 in favor of these winglets.
Not getting it.
So that, cutting to the end of the video, she'd have the 5 over the 6. But, yeah, a very fun, interesting vehicle all the way around. But we've already really covered a lot of that. Now we really do need to talk about how it drives. Being behind the wheel, first thing you did after getting in after me, turn off regenerative braking.
Yep.
And adjust your seat. So yes, that's one of those things where if you ask us if we like tech or don't like tech, I like tech.
I don't like tech. But so the regenerative braking, I think I would get used to that more if I drove an EV that had that on a regular basis. But in this situation,
yeah,
where
completely
we're just
new environment, completely new vehicle.
Yeah, just let me work with what I know, which it's already a little unnerving that.
If you're going to go.
Punch it.
Yeah.
It's already a little unnerving that you take your foot off of the gas and it just stays there.
Yeah.
No, I mean like when it's stopped.
Yeah.
When you have it in park.
Oh, I've got auto hold on.
Oh, is that why? Oh.
Do you want me to turn that off? Since it's so unnerving?
You don't have to, but it is unnerving. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. I do like, did you talk about when you have your blinker on?
A little bit, yep.
I do. With the little cameras that show what's on your side, so I really like that.
And to that end about visibility, being able to see, the windows are really big. They're very proud of how slim these doors are, and hence the B-pillars. So seeing around you, like peeking over your shoulders in this, it's very good visibility here.
Yeah.
So very A+ on visibility in this one.
And good braking.
And good braking, regenerative braking. And that brings us to the fuel consumption here. And I can say fuel consumption, the electricity consumption. Just in your short time driving, we're seeing, 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour? Which is the highest I've ever seen in an EV that we've had. We've tested Audis and Mercedes and VWs, and we've tested a lot of EVs. This one definitely is very aerodynamic, and they pride themselves on the additional range and efficiency that they were able to get out of this platform, because again, it shares a lot of components with the 5, but a different body on it, and they reworked some of the internals, higher density batteries, you know, all the nerdy stuff, including this one being an all-wheel drive model. The front driveline disconnects when power is not needed up front. So that helps reduce drag and up that overall mileage. So the top trim, or the top range offered, is 361 miles. Starting that number with a 3 is a huge plus for us living in East Texas.
Yes, and it's a fast charger.
Yes. My goodness, if I were to recommend personally to any of my friends to buy an EV that live in our area, I would say get a Hyundai product because of their 800-volt architecture. 0 to 80% in 18 minutes. You and I tested this out in real time, for real, with the Kia EV6 GT line, taking Tucker on a road trip, and we can attest to it if you can find a working charger.
If you can find a working charger.
Which is not their problem.
If you have it at your house.
Right. So, yes, plugged in 240 at home, just under, or just over 7 hours. I was going to say just under 8, but just over 7 hours from empty. So if this were your commuter car, no matter how far your commute was, like within 100 miles, I think you're good.
Yeah, I think you're good.
So,
hopefully nobody's commuting over 300 miles.
Yeah. Any other thoughts while you are behind the wheel over there?
On the drivability?
On the drivability of the...
Well, I will say that we have run over a couple of speed bumps. And, you know, I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah. Speed bumps, rough roads. We've been on all sorts of paved surfaces on this media drive. I joke that this is like speed dating vehicles, and they are making sure we experience everything. We've had some rough pavement, some textured pavement, some kind of beat up roads, we've speed bumps. It's handled it all very well.
Yes.
The wheelbase on this being longer than their 3-row Palisade helps. The added weight down low helps. And yeah, it's all around it. It's a very comfortable vehicle.
A couple of the other things that we didn't talk about is all of the different textures in here. I'm like constantly like feeling things. So there's a lot of different textures. Not sure that I love all of them.
Yeah, this one's a weird, interesting texture, but they did pride themselves on using a lot of repurposed materials, like the floor mats, fishnets.
Oh, wow. Well, that is one thing that they said, because it is an EV, sustainability is important all the way from the factory down to the materials that are made for the car. And I think if you are a person who appreciates EVs for the greenness of it, this is one of that's one of the things that people have said about EVs, is that, well, the car is electric, but you know, the factories aren't green, the materials aren't green. So
battery materials especially, like
that is one of those things. So they did try to be as green as possible with this vehicle, so you can feel good about buying it if that's something that's important for you. The other thing that I thought was cool are the hot spots in the car. So you,
powered by Verizon.
Yeah, so you do have the ability to have hot spots in the car. And as we were coming up here, I was working and thought that would have been very helpful. But then also, if you're on a road trip with your kids and they've got their own devices, you've got your own devices,
hook up to the car and go.
It's pretty cool.
Any other thoughts before we swap seats?
Those are my favorite things, I think.
All right.
I switched my colors back to pink.
I noticed.
And purple.
I noticed. So on that note, and now we're back where I'm happier. behind the wheel. And we're gonna go ahead and push this button right here on the steering wheel, turn these not to blue, but to red for sport mode. So, yes.
You bonked my head.
This thing will scoot, that is for sure. And here we are, sport mode, very fun, very responsive, and will move us quite quickly. Beautiful, scenic, southern South Carolina. That's the last I'll do it, I promise. But yes, I've put a lion's share of the miles on this vehicle on this trip, and while yes, it does feel very much like the IONIQ 5 that we tested, there are some very distinct things making it its own unique character.
Okay.
And we talked about the visibility earlier. Very different sight lines. The IONIQ 5 had that very, very thick pillar back over the passengers, which not so much the case here. Better visibility over the shoulders and all around in this. So I really like more visibility versus less. It's always a good thing,
Well,
right? When you can
yes,
see.
when you're driving, that's always a good thing.
But as far as the IP and everything up here in the gauges, very similar, even to Hyundai gas products. So if you've been in a Hyundai product,
it will be very familiar.
yes. One thing that was of note, I talked to him, this will heat up and prepare the battery for charging if you're on a long-term trip, because they will charge faster if they are warm.
Interesting.
Only if you've got a charging station plugged into their GPS. So if you're using Waze or anything on a CarPlay like we tend to do, it's not going to do it. I asked if there was a button. There's no dedicated button, but the team has asked, and I could foresee that maybe being a software update over the air, because they do actually do a lot of over-the-air updates with Hyundai products, and you get
complimentary.
Yes,
excellent.
For starting with this vehicle, BlueLink Plus, you get your phone as a key, your watch as a key. But you also get the physical key. There's a lot of good stuff.
And boy, do you get the physical key.
It's in my pocket. Yes.
It is quite big.
Yes. But you get all of that stuff. 4G connectivity. Now, that is on a trial, but everything else, the over-the-air updates, all of that part of BlueLink Plus, starting with this vehicle. They announced it, I believe, in Chicago, that they were doing BlueLink Plus for the lifetime as long as 4G LTE is working, because they did just nationally sunset 3G. So they put that little caveat in there. All right, so you turned me off of regenerative braking. I turned off auto hold. I'm turning all my goodies back on. You turned all my tech off.
Yeah, and I would do more if I could.
So ironically, the drive pedal I like most on drives like this, where it's long haul distances. I do like the full regenerative braking in stop and go traffic, because it's like that one pedal driving, but I turn that off and I do auto on trips like this, which uses the radar adaptive sensors and all that good stuff to be aware of the vehicles around you. And so here coasting, we're plenty far enough behind that Ram truck in front of us, I can let off. It is doing a little bit of regenerative braking, but it doesn't like slam us forward. Like you've noted, I was using it, I was playing with all the functions, go figure, right when we got on, and we were on the interstate. I was using cruise control with highway drive assist, and tapped the brake to turn off the cruise control, but I was also on full one pedal driving and was not currently on the accelerator. So so on trips, I like auto. It's a good happy medium for me.
Happy medium.
Happy medium, but there is also level 0, 1, 2, 3, and full pedal. So
I like 0.
Yes, you do.
The other thing we were talking about is how crisp the video or the cameras are. The screen.
Yes. Was crisp the word you used?
Crisp was the word I used.
I used very high definition, nerd term.
High
crisp.
resolution.
Yes.
Yes.
But yes,
it is even,
the 360 cameras, CarPlay, very good visibility on the screens,
Yes.
for sure.
You know, you get in some of those cars and they've got the cameras, but the screen's like this big.
Yeah, they're a compliance camera.
Not very good.
Yeah.
You're like, what am I even looking at?
So going back to the drivability of this, I am in sport mode. It is very quick.
Stop it.
One more time?
No.
It is very quick, it is very responsive, but I'll put it back in eco because, again, while you were driving it, I noted the consumption. You got up to over 4 miles per kilowatt hour while driving, and I don't think I've ever seen consistently a 4. I have, like, in downhill stretches, we had the Ford F-150 Lightning. You know, I tried hypermiling that over our time with it and got it up to a 4 briefly, but it went away.
Just an excellent driver.
You are? You are. I'm hovering at 3.9 now. Granted, I did put us in sport mode and did a couple jabs at the accelerator there, but still very impressive efficiency in this. And I think that really is the story they really want us to leave with most on this, because we had an 80-mile drive this morning, a 50-something mile drive, and no DC fast chargers in sight of us. No stopping to charge for us at any point on this trip, which speaks a lot to, they know that, you know, this very scenic drive is not a problem.
And it is a concern with, if you're thinking about driving EVs. I mean, even we had that discussion before we came here on if we were driving an EV, would we be able to make it back without charging?
So another thing I will call to attention that I've noticed in our driving of this is the traffic sign recognition on it.
Yes.
Not only does it recognize stop signs, speed limit signs, but on curvy roads in Georgia and South Carolina, it gave me the curve warning right below the speed limit here. So they're doing their most to make sure you are well informed with the situations around you. Yes. So now that we are back in Georgia, I think it is a perfect time to wrap up this little speed date of a first drive with the 2023 Hyundai IONIQ 6. And I want to know more. I want a second date with this car.
I do too. I like it.
It is definitely a good one. I want to see what it's like putting Tucker's car seat in the back. I want to live with it a little bit longer because there is a lot to like here. If you want to see more from Holly, some behind the scenes stuff from her, go find her at Female Consumer on Instagram. If you want to see more from us and all that we do as a channel, you can find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go read more about this at gtgaragetalk.com. But until next time, gearheads, bye.
Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. Crisp, not high resolution. Let's use some flowery language. Crisp.
Which uses
you're gonna have to roll a window down.
That was not me. That wasn't me.
It smells like a fart.
It wasn't me. Why would I fart while we're filming?
I don't know. But like, really, you're not even gonna roll the window down?
Because I didn't do it.
So
it's
the outside. That was the big fart outside.
It is not me.
You're sticking with that story then.
It was not me.
And now you're keeping it in.
Turning my cooled seats back up.
Oh, will you turn mine on while you're there? Okay, thank you.
Not like I'm driving or anything. So the thing...
Well, you've scooted me so far back. I can't do it.
Well, you can move your own seat. I don't have to do everything for you, do I?
Yeah.
While I'm driving?
Why even be married if you're not going to do everything for me?
See what I had to put up with? Because it's very easy to stop and go. You're a mess. But to adjust.
I'm sorry. I just have. Now because I'm not supposed to laugh, I'm laughing.
Get it out. Get it out.
But I just started thinking, like, so did you think I farted? And then because I wasn't supposed to laugh, I couldn't stop. Okay.
I mean, there's a refinery right over there.
Whew. Whew. Okay.
My goodness.
Okay.
So what was I even talking about? Are we gonna get to go over the bridge?
Probably.
I'm excited. I love bridges.
We're filming.
I know, and that's going in the bloopers.
So we're back in Georgia?
Yes.
Georgia? I thought I saw downtown over there. No, it wouldn't be downtown.
Yeah.
Go. Okay.
Back in Georgia. Georgia, my love.